you can't tighten this shot.
Ustaz. You ready?
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I bear witness that there is nothing deserves to be worshipped but Allah, and I bear witness that our Holy Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, is his servant and final messenger. I seek refuge in Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Brothers and sisters all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of Almighty Allah be upon each and every one of us. On behalf of the Ahmadiyya and Jamaat Isha'at Islam of Trinidad and Tobago Incorporated and the Fireburn Ahmadiyya Jamaat, I would like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome each and every one of you here this afternoon, as we have been invited to join with this organization to celebrate the 50th year of existence, the 50th anniversary. Today, we being the second function like this, and we would like to highlight some of our activities and some of the history of our Jamaat and other little messages that we have. So we'll move straight into our program, and I would like to ask one of our young members, our sister Kimberly Bach, to lead us in an opening prayer. And after which, I'd like to ask another young member, Zain Ali, to lead us, give us a Quranic recitation.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Amin.
Thank you very much, Zain.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil tarmihim bihijaratin min sijil faja'alahum ka'asfin ma'kul. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Li'ilafi Quraysh ilafihim rahlata shita'i was-sayf فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna atainaka al-kautsar fasalli lirabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwal abtar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun la a'budu ma ta'budun wala antum a'buduna ma a'budu wala ana a'budu ma abattum wala antum a'buduna ma a'bud lakum dinakum waliyadin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Iza ja'a nasrullahi wal fath wa ra'aita an-nasa yadkhuluna fi dinillahi afwaja fasabbih bihamdi rabbika wastaghfir innahu kana tawwaba. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tabat yada abi lahabil wa tab ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab sayasla naran dhata lahab wa imra'atuhu hammalatal hatab fi jidiha hablum min masad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul a'udzu birabbil falaq min sharri ma khalaq wa min sharri ghasikin idza waqab wa min sharri nafasati fil 'uqad wa min sharri hasidin idza hasad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul a'udzu birabbin nas malikin nas ilahin nas min sharril waswasil khannas alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas min al-jinnati wan nas. Amin.
Thank you very much, Sister Kimberly, and for giving us the opening prayer, and our young member Zain Ali. And I would like to let you know Zain is one of our young members who led our Isha and Tarawih namaz quite a couple times by himself, and he offered, and we would like to thank him and encourage him to continue that spirit. My dear brothers and sisters, throughout the length and breadth of our country, the name Fireburn, Jamaat, probably is a household name. Whether it is that people supported it or people criticized it. But, in the past, we have had a long history in our Jamaat. And at one time, some of our ladies were doing a little cake sale in the Val Park area, and they had a sign, Fireburn Mosque. They are selling cakes to raise funds for the mosque. So someone was passing and said, let me give you all a help because these people mosque burned down. but they didn't know the area was Fireburn. Anyway, to give us a little history of our Jamaat here in Fireburn, I would like to ask our sister Tashrika Ramkisun to come forward and give us a little history.
Assalamu alaikum. So I was asked to give a short history of our mosque and how it became what it is today. In the early 1940s, Muslims from Fireburn and Arena attended the Calcutta Mosque because this was the nearest mosque in the area. Isha'at was the imam at said Calcutta Mosque. The Muslims from Fireburn and Arena in the early 1950s were then given permission by one Habib, who is the brother-in-law of Sakrullah Miah, to build their own mosque on Arena Road. A temporary grass shed was erected where Jamaat and other functions were held. Sakrullah Miah was the first imam at this Arena Road mosque. They also built a shed opposite the Arena Road Mosque to facilitate maktab classes, and this shed stands up to this day. In the early 1960s, Habib requested Hajo, the mother of Abdul Aziz, to use a piece of land in Fireburn. She was a most kind-hearted and religious woman and a true hero, and she donated this piece of land, and this is where we are currently stationed. The Muslims of this area assisted with erecting a grass shed in this donated piece of land within a few days. This is now the Fireburn Mosque. Mr. Muhammad Hussein, also known as Husseini, was the first president and imam of said Fireburn Mosque. During this time, an influx of members from the TML, which included Mulvi Amar Ali, Dr. Aziz, and Azid Ahmad, attended regularly. The Fireburn Mosque became one of the most vibrant mosques in Trinidad during this era. Around 1962, it took a few years to rebuild the grass shed Fireburn Mosque into a concrete mosque. Classes were held in the concrete Fireburn Mosque by Mulvi Amar Ali and Maulana Tufail. Soon after this, Maulana Haidal became a member and a resident in the area. Maulana Haidal then took over the classes for the next few years. Then, in 1975, 15 members of the Fireburn Jamaat went to the home of Aziz Ahmad, seeking permission to form the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. There they met members of the Gasparillo Jamaat, who was also seeking to form a similar organization. Mr. Ahmad advised the Gasparillo Jamaat that he had already received a petition from the Fireburn Jamaat and that they should join the Fireburn Jamaat. They all agreed. A sumptuous meal was then prepared and everybody left happy. Shortly after this, Mr. Aziz brought Maulana Tufail to Trinidad as a full-time missionary. After Maulana Tufail left, Maulana Haidal then became the head of the Anjuman and started classes throughout Trinidad. He also trained a few foreigners as missionaries, one of whom was Shuaruda from Indonesia. In 1982, the concrete Fireburn Mosque was demolished because it had become too small for the then growing Jamaat. As plans for the new structure began, a court order from the TML was one of the many obstacles that faced us for the next few years, including the splitting of the Jamaat. This was soon overcome, and this...
Very much, Tashrika. My dear brothers and sisters, you know, that is just a little tip of the iceberg of the history of our mosque. And I would like to add, in the Fireburn here, we are privileged to grow with the views and interpretation of our noble religion, Islam, as preached by the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. The Ahmadiyya Anjuman was born on the 9th of June 1975 in the precincts of the Fireburn Mosque, in this same spot here. From then, Ahmadiyyat was preached until this very day. In the white public, we were looked at differently by others. Some would even call us non-Muslims. But the faith and trust in Allah and believing in Muhammad, upon whom be peace, as our final messenger, we continued. Through this organization, a lot of prominent personnel were members and supporters of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. We were noted to have a lot of inter-religious services as we moved along. In spite of having friends and supporters of our organization, we would have had a lot of critics, especially coming from the Islamic community. But that did not debar us from spreading the religion of Islam as being taught by our Holy Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, and the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, Hazrat Mirza Sahib. Many of our stalwarts were grassroots people with a bigger heart than the amount of education or wealth they possessed. Their richness was their thoughts and deeds. They would have had debated and defended Islam through the knowledge they received from the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. We in the Fireburn Ahmadiyya Jamaat, we have a cordial relationship with the Ahmadiyya Anjuman, and therefore on this occasion, we congratulate the Anjuman once again on their 50th anniversary. May Allah reward each and every one who has contributed towards this cause of Islam through the Ahmadiyya Anjuman and the service that we all have rendered. With the distinguished Maulana Mustafa Kemal Haidar at the head, and we here in Fireburn, who is also appreciate and proud that our Maulana is our Imam. So I thought I'll just add this little bit of history. I am sure a little later on we may get a couple more history of our Jamaat. At this time, we are privileged to have with us our brother, Mr. Darren Dure, and he is from Cyber Safe TT. His profession, IT manager, enterprises application, all right, and the topic is cyber security. So it is with great pleasure as I welcome him to make a presentation to us on cyber security. So Mr. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. While we are waiting for the technology to warm up, let me just give you a brief introduction as to why I am here. My name is Darren Dure. I am an IT professional. I have a non-profit organization called the Cyber Safe TT Foundation, and it's been in existence since 2010. And I have had conversations with predominantly students of primary and secondary school about being safe on the internet. Internet addiction, cyberbullying, social media etiquette, and the like. So even though I was introduced to speak to you about cybersecurity, this is not a technical session. I'm actually going to speak to you today about things that you should know, because I'm sure everyone in the audience here has at least one phone. and they have at least one laptop and at least an email account, and probably many of us here are on social media as well. And we know wherever there is good, there is bad. Now I want to just set a little bit of context for our session this afternoon. We are in the hallowed halls of this very, very nice religious place. And with that, we could consider being safe on the internet a certain level of cyber righteousness. Because just in the same way your religious books teach you about how to behave in life, what I like to do is teach you how to sort of behave on the internet, but in a good and responsible manner. Right now, I wouldn't generally read out everything that I have on my slides. I understand the session is being recorded, so you could always refer to it again. But the last line says, to walk the path of cyber righteousness is to surf the web with integrity, post with compassion, and scroll with awareness. So if we address ourselves whenever we enter the cyberspace, chances are we may not get into too much trouble. Now, we would have just come out of an election period where we would have been probably, immersed into a lot of things. One of it would be a lot of fake articles, fake news, fake images. And why is that such a bad thing? It's a bad thing because when we spread this image or this news information, it could have negative impacts on the individuals in question. I don't know how many of us here, on any given day of the week, you would receive a WhatsApp message from someone, and it seems to be very, very, spicy or whatever the case may be, and none of us generally read past the headlines. Is that safe to say? Even if we're scrolling on Facebook and you see a post from a newspaper, or a media house, you look at the headline, you don't bother to read the article, and you just, oh gosh, what are you talking about? But when you actually read the article, you realize it doesn't match up. That's sensationalism, right? And they actually put these headlines, to sort of encourage that type of interaction. But you need to read and then determine for yourselves whether this is worthy of sharing. Does this really make sense? Verify the source, because a lot of times, we may come across certain things that might not necessarily, be accurate. Now, just show by a raise of hands. How many of us here know what the CPEP logo looks like? Now, I hope we don't have anybody working CPEP here. If you're working CPEP, you can't raise your hand. Anybody here know what the CPEP logo actually looks like? Maybe not, right? I see a gentleman here was about to raise his hand, but then I see if you're working here, he can, But here's the thing. There was a letter that was being circulated leading up again to the election period, and the letter purported to sort of indicate if you didn't come to a meeting, you'll be chastised, right? Or if you didn't follow this particular political party. Here is the letter in question. It's the one on the left. Now, it is said that this letter was fake, right? But look at the letter to the right. Could you really ascertain too much of a difference between either at first glance? Not particularly, right? Even the logo, I don't know, even up to now, I don't know which is the correct logo. The letter on the right was generated with AI. I took the letter on the left. Well, I'm saying left because I am here, but it might be the other side for you, right? I took the letter, the original one, threw it in the AI and said, hey, change the words to what you're seeing here. And the words that I told it to put is this an example of how easy it is to edit a document to make it look like an original. It looks like it was typed out. It looks like the original document. And you know what I could have done to this other one as well? Pass stamp on it and make it real official. And none of us would really know the validity of it. But yet still, we saw the image, and we got all boiled up, and we shared it around, and again, it was fake news and fake information that we were sharing. So think twice before we engage in these type of activities. Now, this leads into another topic, which is that of phishing. Now, it sounds like the activity that we probably like to do on a weekend, but it is not really that. Phishing is, and I want you to pay attention in terms of what this definition is. It is really, you might receive an email or a text message, and someone asks you to share personal information. So phishing is the act of, or the illusion of legitimacy through fake websites, social media posts, and so on. What it is really is, you might get a text message, you might get an email, you might get a WhatsApp from somebody that you might know, or an institution that you might be familiar with. An institution could be like what you're seeing here, TT Post, or even PriceMart. These are the first two images that you're seeing here. Or, and I'll dig a little deeper into the Republic Bank Online one. You might receive a text from Republic Bank saying, hey, we've just restricted your bank account. You need to click on this link and fix it. If it's one thing I can leave you with today, is do ever click on the link. Whether it comes in an email, whether it comes in WhatsApp, whether it comes in a text, never click on the link. Sometimes the message might be legitimate. And what you should actually do is don't click on the link. If you do have a Republic Bank account, you go straight to Republic Bank Online and log in from there. So you would have never clicked on the link. That way you know for sure you were actually visiting the legitimate website. I received the text, and guess what? I don't even have a Republic Bank account. Right? So you have to be really, really mindful about this information that comes to us. Now, if you can probably take a look to the top left of the screen, right? There is a little WhatsApp icon. Good? And that was a WhatsApp message that I received from someone in my contact list. And the WhatsApp message said, hey, by mistake I sent you a 6-digit code. Could you just send it back to me, please? I don't know if any one of us here may have received a message like that. Now, once you send back that message, you're going to lose access to your WhatsApp account. That's a scam that has been going on for months, probably even years now. And folks fall for it because you're receiving the request from somebody that you know. And that's the problem. How then can we trust, what's happening? The reason why you're receiving it from somebody that you know, they just got tricked. And now their account is compromised. And the hackers and scammers are using that account to get more information. And you're probably wondering, these people just have all the time in the world. Why are they doing this? At some point in time, they may ask you for money to recover your account. That's one of the reasons why. And think about it. We might have 1 billion WhatsApp accounts. If out of that 0.01% of them send them money, we could all retire from this mosque. Right? And that's how it works. That's generally how it works. So, as I said, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the Republic Bank one because, again, we have banking fraud that's happening. Phishing is identity theft. Identity theft, as we said, someone is pretending to be you. And they're doing activities using things that are personal to you. Right? Now, this looks now, anyone here in the audience have a Republic Bank account, do Republic Bank Online. Does this look like a legitimate website to you? It does look like the legitimate Republic Bank site. And 99% of it is actually legitimate. Now, it's quite small and you probably can't see it because it's the website address. That's the problem here. That's actually a different website. Right? They're actually what we like to use, the word cloned. They cloned the website to make it look like the original one. And you can actually follow through all of these steps and it continues to look like the real Republic Bank website. And what you are doing here is you're entering a username, you're entering your password, and you click submit, and you get a nice message and it's saying, okay, great, thanks, we've just verified the account, everything is okay, and you go about your merry business. What happens, however, is that you've just shared your username and password with a hacker, a scammer. And now, and again, remember, these people are not targeting you, the individual. They're just casting a net out and hoping someone bites. That's why they call it phishing. In Trinidad and Tobago, we've had multiple cases. I would dare say we probably have millions of dollars that have been lost, but I know of individuals who've lost upwards of $50,000 because they fell for this scam. Some lost a little bit of money, $5,000, $500, regardless of the fact, if you lost $1, you still lost too much. So what happens is someone gets access to your account and they go and transfer to their account, come out the system, and the bank, and this is the interesting thing, and you need to be aware of this. The Office of the Financial Ombudsman, as well as the banks, said, listen, once you've clicked on that link that led you to the website, you are no longer protected by any sort of legal framework. So you are at fault for clicking the link. You see why the one thing that I want you to remember at the end of the session is don't click on the link. Sometimes it might seem to come from a very legitimate source. These hackers and scammers even use local phone numbers, which can be easily spoofed. So you're thinking, hey, that's a Trinidad number, it's probably real. But once you click on the link and follow through the steps that they've tricked you into doing, and you submitted the username and password, and you've admitted this to the bank where they can find out, they're not going to refund you your money or try to recover your money. You are at fault at that point in time. So be very, very mindful. One of the things that I'm starting to share with people is that, listen, you need to know your banking website addresses. URLs is short for that, right? Just be mindful of what that's supposed to be, because even if you happen to click on the link, look at the website address. That's at, the address to the top. Does it look familiar, right? I just have some of the popular ones that we have today. So phishing is a very rampant scam that's been happening, and is, you all need to be very, very mindful about it. Now, we just spoke about username and passwords. I want to draw a little analogy. Many of us here might have our front door, and the front door might have a couple locks and bolts and so on, yeah? And then, unfortunately, because of the times, we probably also end up with this. But what we're trying to do essentially is secure our household, secure ourselves, right? And we would go through the lengths to actually make sure it's done in in the most rigid and sturdy way. We will probably not use this as a mechanism to secure our household, because we understand that could be easily duped, right? You come with a nice little curtain and you're inside. What do you think that one identifying thing that protects your online accounts from someone getting in? What is that one thing that you might hold dearly? It starts with P. That's right. Now, how many of us here have a strong password? Now, a strong password, listen, in 2025 is probably 10 characters with letters and numbers in the whole works. I myself cannot remember that. So I've stopped telling people, listen, forget the strong password thing. Now, strong passwords are good. There are tools that can help you do strong passwords. But I want to introduce you to a little technique that I have been using, and it works well. And I think it will work well for you as well. So let's forget passwords, quote unquote. Let's use a passphrase. A passphrase is something that you will remember. So 2 doubles with slides. I think we could all remember that, right? Now, you don't want to use this one, You have to use something that you can remember. You think you might say every day. I love peanut butter. My car is red. Those kind of things. Something that you can remember. I see Auntie in the back, take kitchen kicks. Remove all the spaces from the phrase and change 1 or 2 of the characters. One with a $, one with a number. Now that's very easy to remember. And when I checked the bottom version of 2 doubles with slide on a password checker, this would take 7 quadrillion years for someone to figure out. So we know they're figuring that out now. So it's not PASSWRD. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope nobody here have those passwords as their passwords. But you understand now this nice little technique for you to generate strong passwords, right? So think of something that you can remember, a phrase that you might say regularly, hopefully local to you. It's not something that you go out on social media and say, because then of course you're sharing that with everybody. And you remove the spaces and change some of the characters to a $sign and a number, right? You could probably put an exclamation to the end, and there you go. You have a very strong password that you could remember. Now, when last you changed your password? That is the other thing too. Never. It's difficult again to remember new passwords, right? My recommendation, however, is you see your email, treat your email as secure as your internet banking. The reason why a lot of things happen in your email. How many of us here probably have scans of our passports and IDs inside our email? Because we needed to send it to the insurance agent, or we needed to send it to the bank, or we just had to send it to somebody for some sort of business activity. And what we did, we left it there. Now, I mean, they also have it, hopefully in a secure space. But if someone gains access to your email, think about that now. If someone gets access to your email, what information you have in your email that is so close and personal to you that could lead to identity theft? I know a few of us are going to go back home and delete us the emails that we have, which is a good practice. We don't need to keep that information there all the time. After you sent it once, you can delete it, and hopefully you can ask the person to delete it on their end as well. So I'm saying your email accounts and your banking accounts, if your bank does not force you to do it, should be changed every 3 months. I know you're not going to like me for saying that. But the frequency in which passwords are compromised and are hacked, 3 months is now. If I probably speak to you next year at the same time, I'll tell you every month. But there is recourse. I know it's difficult for us to keep changing it. So we looked at, let me see if I go back quickly here. Different mechanisms to secure in our household, right? Some of us would even go down to this level, right? And have the security camera on. The equivalent to this in the virtual space is called multi-factor authentication. That's a big word, I know, but we will explain it. You probably do it already. That's when you receive a code. So you enter your username and password, and before you can actually get into the system, you get a code on your phone. That's multi-factor, a different factor. Anyone here ever used that before? Yeah? Great. When and wherever you have the opportunity to set up multi-factor authentication, please do. Every single email account has the option to do it. Every single social media account has the option to do it. Hopefully your banking solutions should allow you to do it as well, or force you to do it for that matter. So it might seem as an additional step, but trust me, you don't want to see that $50,000 or $100,000 leave from your bank account. You'll probably take the 2 or 3 seconds to enter the code into your system. Yeah? So multi-factor authentication, it's also referred to as two-factor authentication. And why it is saying that? One factor is a username and password. The second factor is something that is local to you. Now that could also be Face ID, it could be a fingerprint, it could be a text to your phone. All of these things are local to you. So let me explain why this is good. If a hacker has your username and password, and they're trying to log into your account, and they keep getting prompted for this code, you're going to give a guy the code. They don't have your phone, they don't have your face, they don't have your, but we hope they don't have your face and fingerprint to do a scan, right? With AI, anything is impossible, it's possible. But the thing is, you have access to that, so you're really blocking them, yeah? It is like that burglar profile, they break down the door, but then they see the burglar profile, and they didn't come in the bolt cutters, so like they leave. That's what multi-factor is about. And we mentioned AI, so we're jumping straight in it, because I don't want to take up too much of time, and we have a lot of other wonderful speakers today. AI, we've all seen the videos, we've all seen the images. Some of us probably use ChatGPT on a daily basis. And it's great, it's fantastic, it helps us, do work, become a lot more efficient. It probably helps the students answer their homework questions. And on the flip side, it can also be used for bad, right? You can very easily, for no cost, because the technology is so available now, at no cost, create a fake video of anyone in this room saying something that they didn't say. It just takes a couple minutes to search on YouTube to figure out how to do it. Of course, I'm not going to show you how to do it here, but I'm telling you this because information is going to come to you in social media. You have to give it a double take, right? Now we have a new political party, and you're going to have a lot of opposition members probably trying to push fake information into the media. And it might even go the other way around. You have to do that double check, right? And I'm just using that as an example because that's our current state. As we get later on in the year, there may be different things that might come up that might warrant the use of AI technology in a bad way. So again, remember, read past the headlines, verify the source. And if you get it via WhatsApp, the first thing to do is not to send it. Just to give it a little thought first. Maybe go on the web and see if someone else said it and validate the source before you share it. Because again, sharing fake information has negative impacts on everyone. Now, the last topic that I want to speak to you about today is that of internet addiction. Show by a raise of hands how many of us here are addicted to the internet. I see some hands in the back. Now, internet addiction is a real thing. They use the word addiction not lightly, When you think addiction, of course we think narcotics, alcohol, those kind of things, right? Yes, that's the natural thing for that word addiction, right? And you wouldn't just generally tell someone who, and I can tell you why. The developers of many of these games and solutions and social media applications, they've studied the effects of the brain when someone actually takes narcotics. And they've been able to figure out how to create that similar sensation when you're using some of these. You get any likes. You're wondering what's going on here. And then you're waiting, and all of a sudden you get 10 likes. It's like you're feeling good about yourself. All right, we good to go. The picture at the same time? No. How often do you check your device? Do you use your device during meal times? Now, I'm asking this question of you, but you can think of this question of someone else, or someone close to you. Is your phone the last thing you check before you go to sleep, and the first thing you check when you get up? Ask yourself these questions. Has your phone replaced stress relieving activities? So you say, well, I'm relieving some stress on your phone. Well, in the past, you might have probably gone outside, gone in the garden, play with the dog, these kind of things. Ride the bike, some of the young ones. Does it make you spend less time with the ones close to you? All of these are signs and symptoms of being addicted to the internet. Do you doom scroll? Do we know what doom scrolling is? When you're just sitting on your phone, you're just scrolling with no apparent reason for doing it whatsoever. You're just kind of scrolling to see what's the next picture. And you do it for hours on end. You're not looking for something, you're not researching information, you're just there and doom scrolling. Not really being that productive. Yeah? Let me just add, look at your hand. The hand that you just kind of use your phone, hold your phone with, right? Anybody kind of have feeling like a little indentation somewhere around here in your phone? Like somewhere around here on your pinky finger? Feel a little indentation? How you just hold your phone when you're thinking? It's probably, it's probably just do it like this. I mean, just rest your phone right here. Yeah. Apparently that's a thing now. You're holding your phone like this and using your finger as a prop. And it has now created an indentation on your pinky finger. These are real signs of internet addiction. Now, I cannot just make up this last thing here, but it's true if you look at it. Right? So, that brings me actually to the end of our conversation. We spoke about quite a lot of different things. And I just want to go back to the original concept, right? Your religious scriptures provides deep insights into wisdom, self-control, and righteousness, all of which apply to being online and cyber safety. So let us practice cyber righteousness by using technology, ethically protecting ourselves from online threats and helping others to stay safe. So, your call to action, think before you click, or don't click at all. Verify before you share, and educate yourself and others. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's fine, no problem.
So if your phone gets compromised and you have certain personal data on your phone, can a hacker get access to it?
So the question is, if your phone gets compromised, I'm assuming by that you mean you feel someone has access to your phone, and you have certain information in it. Now, that's a yes or no question answer, because the apps on your phone generally sometimes are separate and distinct from the operating system on your phone. So if someone has access to the operating system, they happen to get into, or let's just say, for example, WhatsApp got hacked, which is a very common thing. You can be rest assured that the rest of your apps are safe. That has been proven, right? So if your WhatsApp account on your phone has been hacked, you don't need to worry about throwing away your phone, right? All the other apps, they have this sort of, bubble around it. It's not going to. So it's not like, once one app or one thing gets compromised, everything else is going to get compromised. It's different from a computer. A computer doesn't have that whole app sort of logic, right? Everything just sits on the hard drive in the computer. So if the hard drive gets compromised, yes, there is a possibility of they going into your email and all those kind of things, but not that way with the phone.
And you talk about the links and them, right? Sometimes when you're searching for a link, you see a whole set of, especially on the laptop, a whole set of things will come up, right? If it's kosher mango or a whole set of things will come up. How do you know which one is the link?
That's a fantastic question. So the question was, how do you know what's a valid link? I showed you some valid links there, right? How do you know what's a valid link? Now, you wouldn't necessarily want to know whether it's a valid link. You want to know whether or not the link takes you to something that might have malware or bad information. Also a valid link, right? Many antivirus software that are available today, Nord, for example, Nord, N-O-R-D, that's one that I recommend generally. That has an automatic link detector. So you could be browsing and doing a search on Google, and you will see different colors on the links. The different colors says, hey, don't go on that one, that's a bad link. That's the best approach I could take. You could also go to nord.com, and if you see that link, you could copy it and paste it into there, and they'll say, hey, yes, that's fine, you could go ahead here. Oh, hey, no, don't go to that, right? So you as an individual yourself wouldn't be able to ascertain, because that bad link could come out tomorrow, and I wouldn't know about it, you wouldn't know about it. But these antivirus tools, they know about it, yeah? We could take any more questions? Okay. Apparently we can't take any more questions, right? But you can always follow me on social media. I wouldn't hack you, but send me your questions there. Okay, all right, sure.
Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, let's give our brother Darren a round of applause. You know, in this world of technology, these information are vital for us. I would like to share a little experience I had. My cell phone was hacked, and the person get hold of a number, another person, which was on my phone, and asked that person to deposit 550 US and give in a number. So these information are so vital for us, you know, so that it can help us as we go on. I would like to thank our brother Darren for coming out today in his busy schedule. We know he's busy, and we'll excuse him. He have to leave in a short bit. But before leaving, we in our Jamaat here would like to thank you for your service, and hope that in some time in the future we'll be back to answer some questions, you know. So, and we have a little token for you, and I would like to ask Aliyah to come forward and make this presentation. Go in front. You want to say something?
You have to just say something.
Say.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of Yan Maria Anjuman and the Fireburn Jamaat, we would like to thank you and show our gesture of gratitude by presenting this small token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Wait for the Okay, thank you very much, Aliyah. We continue with our program as at this time we'll have a song from the Songs of Islam, and I'd like to ask our brother Isha'at to sing for us.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم इस्लाम से न भागो राह हुदाए ही है ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो ज़ुहा यही है। मुझको कसम खुदा की जिसने मुझे बनाया, अब आसमां के नीचे दीने हुदा यही है, दीने हुदा यही है। बातिन सियाह है जिनके, इस दीन से है वो मुनकिर, पर ऐ अंधेरे वालों दिल का दिया यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है। ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो ज़ुहा यही है। दुनिया की सब दुकानें हैं हमने देखी भाली, आखिर हुआ ये साबित दारुशिफा यही है, दारुशिफा यही है। सब खुश्क हो गए हैं जितने थे बाग पहले, हर समत मैंने देखा बुस्ता हरा यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है। ऐ सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो ज़ुहा यही है। वो पेशवा हमारा जिससे है नूर सारा, नाम उसका है मोहम्मद, दिल भर मेरा यही है, दिल भर मेरा यही है। उस यार पर फिदा हूँ, उसका ही मैं हुआ हूँ। वो है मैं चीज़ क्या हूँ, बस फैसला यही है। इस्लाम से न भागो, राहे हुदा यही है। है सोने वालों जागो, शम्शो ज़ुहा यही है।
Thank you very much, Brother Shafayat. As you know, in our Jamaat history, Shafayat is one of the person who sings from then on up to this day. So we'd like to thank him for that song from the Songs of Islam. And many of us would know that the writer of that song was the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, with a very beautiful meaning: do not run away from Islam. Our next speaker is no stranger to us. He's our leader, he's our Maulana, our Imam and missionary. And we have had many challenges, and we all know that Maulana, he would have been the target as the head of this organization from the critics. But as far as one can remember, Maulana preached peace from the early stages of his lectures and teachings that he had given so many of us. He preached peace and not hostility up till this present day. So it is with great pleasure I ask our Maulana to make his contribution.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلكم صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. I bear witness that there is no other God but Allah, and I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is the last, the final messenger of Allah, after whom no prophet, old or new, will come. And I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. My dear sisters and brothers, all assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you all for coming to join us here on this very special day, special occasion, where the Ahmadiyya Anjuman celebrates its 50th anniversary in the various Jamaats associated with us, but particularly Fireburn, which was its starting point. I'm especially proud of the young people today because many of our elders have passed away. We are fortunate to have one or two. One is present here, of course, Mrs. Ruqayya Ahmed, and we have others. Ma'am Iqbal Haidar is also a senior person, and we do have one or two others who are still with us. And there are even others who were with us and no longer with us, but they have a sympathy towards the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. And I want to tell the young people, therefore, that had your parents been alive, they would have been very proud of you. They made tremendous sacrifices to allow what we have today to exist. They fulfill the verse of the Quran that says, Kun fayakun. Let there be a possibility and let it become a reality. Possibility becomes reality. What is possible can become something that actually exists. And they had a belief of the propagation of Islam, and they had so many concepts and ideas. They had different methods that they used in order to propagate Islam. And that was in fulfillment of the verse of the Quran that I recited just a while ago from chapter 24, which is a very important verse that deals with our modern day. Because many people think the Quran is a book of history, historical data telling us about Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and David and Solomon, Jesus Christ, and we argue on so many different points about who was sacrificed and what was the stories there and so on, and whether Jesus was taken alive, Miraj was, we debate on all of these. What we don't realize, many of us, is that the Quran foresees the future. And it tells us how to deal with the future. And this verse of the Quran, among others, which perhaps I'll be explaining in different occasions, I interpret as follows. Allah promises those among you who have strong faith and change their behavior to choose them as caliphs, as rulers on earth, just as He had chosen caliphs before them. And those caliphs before them, of course, were prophets and other persons, male and female, who received divine revelation and guided people until the final prophet Muhammad came. Just to recap some of the things that were about the Jamaat itself and its association with the Anjuman. In our growth and development, your elders so need to have, for example, a microphone, which was not common in mosques in those days, 50 years ago. And we bought a microphone and used it to have what was called jihad meetings, that we'll go on the street corners in different areas with different Jamaats, wherever they can organize and promote the religion of Islam. The Anjuman, the members also got together and purchased a certain vehicle in which we had the name of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman painted on both sides, so that wherever we go, people will know this is an organization. This organization exists, as our president said just a while ago. It was known throughout the length and breadth of this country because that name, Ahmadiyya Anjuman Isha'at Islam, was promoted by means of that vehicle. In this particular mosque, as he mentioned, there were classes that were held at Maktab. One of the first things that was introduced was color TV and a VCR. And that was used in the Maktab to even raise funds, that the children were invited to come and see a color TV and a VCR in which the sound of music or some other movie was played, and we printed little tickets, maybe about 10 cents or something now, or $1, and they would come, and that would be used for funds to run the Maktab as well. We also had a video camera, one of the first video cameras that were there. I must say, the brother of one of our members who are here, Mr. Abid Mohammed, his brother had furnished us with a video camera that we went throughout the length and breadth in conventions and so on and made videos of long before other people knew about videos. We were videoing our conferences and our meetings and so on. I personally had a tape recorder where I recorded a lot of our speeches and lectures and wherever we went in interfaith meetings and so on. So we have a lot of records that are there in our Ahmadiyya house about the work and the activity of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman. It was mentioned that right here, classes were held that trained people from foreign countries. And two stands out particularly. One of them from New Grant, who is at present the Imam of the New Grant Mosque, Mr. India's Rashid, who came from Guyana especially to do Islamic education, and then he branched off, of course, in the economics, but he got his Islamic training here. At the same time with Mr. Shurayuda, who was from Indonesia, and he was in Pakistan, left there and came here in order to study because they felt that the information he'd get there here in English will be much more better for him. I want to indicate also that the mosque that we had here, you have heard a bit of that history, but this present building that we have was initiated by a very prominent member of the Muslim community who attended here quite regularly. That was Justice Mustafa Ibrahim and his wife, Mrs. Jinora Ibrahim. And when we were unceremoniously kicked out of the mosque next door, we used to have our meetings and Eid namaz and functions and so on, and prayers at the home of the Cycle Baksh family, and especially on Eid al-Adha. You find that the whole Jamaat got together. Everybody contributed, they meet, and we had Jamaat togetherness. And they were so impressed by this Jamaat togetherness when we didn't have a place. But yet still we kept people together. And so they made a promise to donation, my sister did, of $70,000 to start this particular mosque. We had to acquire the land, which is a different story, but the land here had belonged to 5 brothers, but one brother gave up his lot here, Mr. Yusuf Hussein. I'll mention that in just a while, but please remember Mr. Yusuf Hussein, who gave up his lot here so that the original mosque was built. And I myself drew the plans for this mosque, was held by one of the draftsperson from New Grant, and we built the mosque, raised the funds, and I'm happy two of our builders are here, Mr. Sayer Ali, who helped quite a lot in obtaining material, and Mr. Kamruddin Mohammed, who is also present here. And I would like to just recognize him, because you may not realize it. If you look up, you'll see the ceiling here, and you'll see these different beams here. He and I and one other person, one Sunday were here, and we were the only persons who had to put 3 scaffolds to get those beams up there on our shoulders. And today I want to commend him for the strength that he had, the contribution he made, even physically, in seeing that this mosque was actually constructed. Now, my dear sisters and brothers, many of you would not have known the original mosque you may not have seen. We don't have a picture of the grass shed that was mentioned. But I would like to go through a little photographic display of some of the history of the mosque. Excuse me. Just wait for the projector to warm up a bit. It'll get a little brighter in a while. Some of the pictures are not that bright, but nevertheless, Okay, thank you very much for. This is a photograph of the front of the concrete mosque. We don't have fixed photographs of the grass shed that was mentioned by our sister when she gave the report. And these are quite a few of the members of the Jamaat, together with missionaries from Guyana. The main door was not actually used. We used to enter from the side. This is another picture of Maulvi Rashid, father of Imtiaz Rashid, and he's greeting Mr. Sunni Ahmad, who was from that time Nation of Islam. And these are people who were very close with us in propagating Islam. This is a photograph of Mr. Yusuf Hussein, the actual donor. We have, even though the land belonged to 5, he was the one who gave up his lot of land, and this is him here while he was alive. This is a picture of Mr. Shurayuda with the topi, standing next to my mother. He is the one who came here from Indonesia, and when he returned to Indonesia, I visited Indonesia and met him, and he at that time had translated the Holy Quran into the Bahasa Indonesian language, the local language of Indonesia. They used to speak Dutch, or kind of Dutch, but now they speak in their own language, Bahasa Indonesia, and he translated the Quran into that language. This here is when the mosque was broken down, and we had, trying to put up a new foundation, as was mentioned. We had problems with Trinidad Muslim League. This was before we broke down the mosque and started the foundation here. I think you'll see the slim person here, I believe is Dr. Hamza Rafiq, and there are others around. Mr. Hamid is in the background here. These are some other photographs here of the digging of the soil here. And this also is another. This is the inside of the mosque, and where we had Maulana SM Tufail giving a khutbah. And you can see the Jamaat members here, the elders, your fathers, and your thing. I can see a person here in the middle with the grey hair. I can easily identify him just by his head. That's the father of Mr. Trevi, who is sitting right here. So as I said, you have your elders. We have a record of your elders and the contributions they made to the propagation of Islam. We have Mr. Hanif from John is there. And there are other people, some of the younger people in the mosque. This is This is a dua when we were actually laying the foundation of when we started the construction of the mosque. And Mr. Qayyum Mohammed is there with the older Imam, Mr. Usman, and other persons, my mother and Hanif Ram John, and others as well. These are some of the younger people. Some of them are still here who also participated in this dua. This is, of course, the first sort of concrete that was sent. The person throwing it as the shovel was my mother, Mrs. Afroz Haidal. And we do have Imam Muhammad Rafiq, father of Dr. Rafiq, and my wife Nariman, who also threw the first concrete into the holes. Here we have Maulana SM Tufail, Dr. Rafiq, and Mr. Iqbal Haidar, or Imam, talking to each other. This is also, when the concrete structure was brought down, we had problems, as you mentioned, as was mentioned, with Trinidad Muslim League. So we built a shed just of galvanized and so on, and would pray in there for a time being while we were trying to sort out the problems. And this is the members of the Jamaat in that shed. For quite a while we were in that shed. You can see the amount of young people and the sizable Jamaat. Many of these are scattered all over the world now in their own way. You will, well, myself here given a sermon or khutbah when in the shed. Some of you may recognize some of your family members here. These are also pictures in the shed itself. You will see our Jamaat was quite sizable, as was mentioned by our president. Again, there are some other people that you're familiar with. Again, this is the size of the Jamaat we'll probably have on Eid Day. This is Mrs. Zalimun Mohammed, our famous Nightingale, who sang so many songs in 1975. She and her husband was the assistant Imam, made significant contributions. Of course, Imam Rafiq and his voice and his lectures and his du'as were, recitation of Quran were well known throughout the country, because he would go with the Anjuman and all over in lecturing. People love to hear him. We have here Dr. Saeed Ahmad, the head of the Anjuman, and some other members there, Mr. Inayat Mohammed, Mr. Hayyum Suleiman, greeting the religious head of the Anjuman, and Inayat's wife, and Zarina Mohammed is also here. Sorry. This was when we wanted to build a mosque on the other side, on the other area, and we had a bazaar that was attended by the head of the Divine Life Society at that time, and Dr. Rafiq is there, and Mr. Basio Pandey, who was not yet Prime Minister, attended there. We do have other pictures about with regards to that. What's happening here? There. This is again Imam Rafiq and Mr. Inayat Mohammed and Mr. Basio Pandey and others over there. I think this is the end of it. But we do have other pictures, but I didn't want to make it very lengthy. So, my dear sisters and brothers, as I said, I want to congratulate the young people who came last night, did the decorations, and give every support in so many ways. And in order to, I would like to indicate here that we live in a world in which Muslims, no doubt, and we are part of that Muslim community, they dream that the religion of Islam will triumph all over the world, will triumph over other religions. That's a belief. People say Islam will triumph over other religions. I want to assure you that that is not so. Nowhere in the Quran does it tell us that Islam will triumph over other religions. Quran does not teach this. What the Quran does teach is that the Deen ul Haq, the religion of truth, will triumph over all religions. So the religion that promotes truth, if Islam does not promote truth, and there are some cases where we know among the Muslim community there are falsehood, as was pointed out just a while ago, there are a lot of fake news and fake information going on. People are saying Ahmadis are not Muslims. Again, that is fake news, it's not true. We have been appointed by Allah for a particular task. So, if Muslims do not follow the religion of truth, their Islam will never be supreme over other religions. So it is important that we as members of the Ahmadiyya movement pursue the truth of Islam, and we do that by means of our understanding of the Quran. And the Quran tells us that sometimes Muslims have their own Islam. In chapter of the Quran it says, you do not give a benefit to me by your Islam. On the other hand, Allah showers on you a benefit by guiding you to the faith if you are truthful. So if we are truthful, He will guide us, and we have that guidance of Allah. So Muslims are guided to the truth of Islam if they are truthful. And we know that there are many Muslims who are not. I would not want to show you, but I was looking at some internet, over the internet, some clips of people going to Jummah on Friday and Muslims stopping them and say, no, you're not a Muslim, why are you going to Jummah? You should, one woman was in a house and she said, I'm going to my house to pray. You say you can't pray in your house. Did you get permission? How can you use your house as a place of prayer, as a mosque? We have a mosque down the road. You have to join our community. And these are things that are real in the world around us. So to establish Islam, Muslims believe that you have in the false concept of jihad, that you have to fight wars and battles, that you have to blow up people and take over and overthrow governments and so on. They wrongly interpret jihad as a force of arms or a holy war. That is why, my dear sisters and brothers, Muslims need Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. This is a person that was sent by God, the Mujaddid of the 14th century, because it is through his understanding and his application of the Quran that we can be with God and make our Islam the religion of truth. He has guided us as to how to interpret the Quran. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is a Mujaddid sent by Allah. He didn't appoint himself. God appointed him. He had refused anything, Satan, making any claims until he said, God has told me to do these things, so what am I to do? Ignore God? I have to follow the will of God as he guides me. So he was sent by Allah to give us the method for Islam to be the religion of truth. And he teaches us that the Quran says, Inna Deena Inda Allahil Islam. Surely the religion with Allah is Islam. The religion where you have a relationship with Allah is Islam. And Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also gave us a bayat or a pledge to commit ourselves to Allah. Just as prophets were sent to Allah for reformers of human beings and they gathered around them followers, every prophet had a Jamaat, a Ummah, who believed in them and who carried on their mission even after they died. When the Prophet Muhammad guarded his followers, they were also required to swear allegiance or bayat to him for the defense and propagation of Islam. So the Quran says, and what the Prophet Muhammad did is in accordance with the Quran. Those who take the bayat to you actually take a bayat to Allah. We are committing ourselves to Allah. We are asking Allah to guide us so that we do the correct thing in the propagation of Islam. The hand of Allah is above their hands. The hand of Allah, the power of Allah, the guidance of Allah. Just as a person will put their hand on another to guide them, so too the Quran tells us that when we take this bayat, the hand of Allah is above their hands. Inshallah, we would like to invite people to take the bayat and consider it. If you have any questions, you can ask us. We'll be sending out videos about the importance of the bayat, what it is all about, so that we will be we want to take bayat of people who would like to join the organization on June the 8th when we have our gala function, and about which you will get more news about that. So the Quran tells us that Muhammad was assured that forever among his followers, forever, there will be caliphs and rulers. The Quran explains further. I am not explaining this verse of the Quran. It's a long verse. I'll explain it in other occasions. But the Quran is pointing out to us that these are in fact rulers. They will be the leaders. So the caliphs of the Prophet are also given assistance from among the Muslims, because the Quran says, and from among you there should be a party who invite to good and enjoin right and forbid wrong. That's all we have to do. We must be a group who invite people to good and enjoin right and forbid what is wrong. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad united all Muslims, that you don't have to be in a sect, just follow truth under the common banner of the Ahmadiyya movement. It is this movement formed under Allah's command which is entrusted with the championing and the cause of Islam in this age. The sun of Islam rises in the west, and it is the Ahmadiyya movement that is selected by Allah to bring about this rising of the sun. Rising of the sun is not merely a political statement that is made by some political parties, use it, rising of the sun, and they have risen. Why is it not? If the Prophet Muhammad made a prophecy of the rising of the sun, and we can rise also. But the rising of the sun requires, just as in the political field, is support of people, their commitment to the cause or whatever it is. So too in the religious arena, we are the rising sun, and we would like you to join the organization. Now there are two kinds of membership. There's what we call associate membership. You commit yourself, you make a contribution financially, and you're a member. But you also have, if you want to be on the executive or go further or commit yourself further and assist in the propagation of Islam, we ask you to take the bayat. And that is for the protection of the organization. We have resources that we have built mosque, and we have spent so much time and effort and money in our membership, and we have more to do on streaming and internet and so on. It costs quite a lot. But therefore, when people commit themselves, we would be able to continue our work. So Ahmadis are the soldiers to defend Islam, and we pledge to put religion above all worldly concerns. That is the pledge of the Ahmadiyya Jamaat, that I will put my religion above all worldly concerns. So being an Ahmadi means I'm committed to reforming or changing my life and other people's lives by changing my thinking and by changing their thinking. And my dear sisters and brothers, you know God has blessed you when you have changed your life and when you have changed someone else's life for the better. So you young people who are here from all the Jamaats, this Jamaat as well as others, you are the builders of the Islam of the future. I want to invite you to join the Ahmadiyya movement, whether as an associate member, and as you know more about it and you get more involved, there's a lot that you can do. Give your name and a membership card will indeed be given to you. But my dear sisters and brothers, before I close, I want to tell you that this year the Ahmadiyya Anjuman, in celebration of its 50th anniversary, has been spending money on its membership and the associated Jamaats. We have given grants, we have given gifts, we have provided maxis for you. We are having a gala function on June the 8th, which you'll hear about. And we'll be having the time capsule that will be recording what you would like your 50 years from now your children to see. And also you will find that in August we are having an international convention. Now all of these cost a lot of funds, a lot of money. And we have always been dependent upon our members for anything small or large. There are some people who can donate large amounts. There are some who can donate. We accept any one of these. And so I'm making a special appeal for you to come forward and donate towards the organization, towards the convention, towards the mosques and so on, towards our internet broadcasts and so on, because today's function is also being streamed live, and we are working with people in Canada, India and other parts of the world to carry this message to the world, not only to our own people. So I am making an appeal to you, and we have opened a fund, and I would like to tell you that I would like to assure that this fund will begin with at least $10,000. And I'm asking some people to match that, those of you who can afford it, or less than that, or more than that. And also, I've had a commitment of $3,000 US to start this fund. So I'm making this appeal today, and I would like you to make pledges. Some of you may want to give the pledges publicly, some may want to give it privately. But do contact us and let us know. And not only yourself, you have members of your family. Look at your members of your family. See businesses around. If you need letters to appeal to people, we will provide those letters, official letters that you can ask for donation. But be inspired that here is an organization that I have lived with, my elders have lived with. I am going to take part of it in the future, and I need to ensure that it is financially sound and secure. We have seen this mosque was started with a donation of $70,000 that someone donated. Everyone cannot afford that, but there were other people who donated $5,000, $10,000, $50, $5. Even children can donate. People can donate from many ways. You have a birthday, you have celebration, you have weddings. People spend a lot of money on the venue, on the decorations, and the music, and the DJs, and so on. And think of the Anjuman also. If I can even give $500 or $100 or whatever. There are all those occasions. The birthday, I'm grateful to Allah for a child that is born. I'm grateful for my child is successful in examination. I'm grateful for having an akika. And I would like to also not just have the physical things, but make a donation for the propagation of Islam. We do have membership cards that we give you, and we collect every month or every 3 months or every year that you'd like to contribute. We give our receipts. And one thing on the membership card, we identify what are the conditions of bayat that are there. And that is very important because it reminds us that what our commitments are. Tomorrow, inshallah, in Gasparilla, I'll speak more about this, about the bayat and how it is that without you take the bayat or not, you don't know you're already committed. So inshallah, we'll speak about that tomorrow. So I want to conclude here by thanking all of you for your cooperation and let you know that we have a fund open, and I want to urge you to make personal donations yourself and try within your home, your family, your neighbors, anyone, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, make a donation, however small, however large, towards this. Tomorrow our executive will be meeting and setting a budget for this convention, but we want you to enjoy these 50th celebration. Your parents could not have done it. Some of you were here before, some people, Mairi village, are here ever since the inception of the Anjuman, and we appreciate their coming here, and other Jamaats as well. From Aruka, we have people here who at the beginning supported this Anjuman, and there are other Jamaats as well. So that inshallah your forefathers, as I said, were initiators of this organization. You are the ones to carry it forward. Do try to get the funding necessary so that everyone will know the importance of this organization in the propagation of Islam. May Allah shower His choicest blessings upon you. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quran al-Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareem malikun barrur rahim. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maulana, for giving us that history of our Jamaat. You know, there's so much one can say, but time will not permit us. However, I would like to mention that I have seen some of the stalwarts, you know, in the slides there. And stalwarts are people who one can look up to and follow their footsteps. We reflect you know, on the contribution and the commitment they made for the religion of Islam. Many of them, you know, have gone to the great beyond, but as Maulana have indicated, in our Jamaat here, we have, whilst we see in the airwaves of our country, people are calling in, congratulating women leaders in our society, as Prime Minister, as opposition leader, as Speaker of the House. We too can say in our Jamaat here that we have 3 of our women who are 90 years and above are still with us, and they have motivated us, they have showed us commitment, and we thank Almighty Allah for that. And I think that should go down in the history of our Jamaat and the Anjuman having. And they are Mrs. Zuleka Baksh, Mrs. Zoraida Ali, and we have presently with us Mrs. Rukaya Ahmad. So may Almighty Allah bless them, you know, and we always look, you know, upon them for the necessary support and guidance that they had given to us for so many years. At this time, we'll have a couple of short announcements, and I'd like to ask the Vice President of the Ahmadiyya Anjuman, our brother Farazan, to come forward and inform us of these information.
Our dear Maulana Sahib, respected Imams, sisters and brothers all, Assalamu alaikum. And not forgetting our President, Sister Farida Mohammed. It is as the chairperson of the coordinators of this convention on celebrating our 50th anniversary of this organization, it is just for me to remind you all that we have started it in Aruka. That was the first on the local side of the convention, and the caravan continues to move. So we are here in Fireburn, And then tomorrow we will be in Gasparilla. And then next week we will be moving again. So these invitations, we don't post it out very all at once. So we giving it to you every week as is necessary for all the members of all our affiliated Jamaats to come together so that we will bond with each other. We'll get to know each other. Not only the hierarchy of the organization, because we are always at the front, but you, the members, so when we meet together, don't only associate yourself with your Jamaat members. We want you to broaden that a little bit. So meet with other members of the other Jamaat and make that relationship. This is what the convention is really about. This is what we want to achieve. On the 8th of June, when we meet at Ahmadiyya House, we will have all our members hopefully know each other by name or by face. So when we meet each other, we will recognize, oh yeah, you from Aruka, you from Siparia, you from Irie Village, or New Grant, as the case may be, or Gasparilla. So my dear, but this is basically what we are looking for. The Maulana did make an appeal, and that I wanted to just touch on that. Because the committee that working on this know the amount of money that it is going to cost us at the end of the day. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. That is easy, we get in that. What we are looking for is the fund to drive it. And the Maulana did make that appeal, and so I will just like to reinforce it. It is easy, and I will tell you how it is easy. Within my own self, and it's not only because I'm the chairperson, I just tell myself, listen, I know how important it is, so let me reach out. And I started to reach out to members of my family and friends, and just letting them know the importance of the celebrations. My dear sisters and brothers, I got commitments from this family, and then I talked to the secretary, and we sent out official letters to them. Not because they are members of my family, and I didn't want to just talk word of mouth to them. So although they have committed, I sent out an official letter to them. And then after that, I received the funds, put it into the Anjuman account as we will have now to continue. We sent back out now letters of appreciation, thanking them. We meet with this not only local, I had some foreign family, and we sent it out to the foreigners also. This is how we want you to do it. It's easy. Talk to your family, and all you have to do is to give us an email address from them, and then we will forward that letter to them, official letter. So they will understand. You telling them it's just a 50th anniversary, but when they get the letter, they will understand how important it is for us while we celebrate this. And then 50 years from now, because on the 8th of June, one of the item on the program is burying a time capsule. In that time capsule, we want to capture these events. But 50 years from now, or 25 years from now, let's say we celebrating our 75th anniversary, and they open that capsule, the children of that time will understand like what Maulana would have put up there, and you seeing people 50 years ago when, or at the time when this building started. This is how important it is for us now in paving the way for the future of the generations to come. My dear sisters and brothers, I appeal to all of you. Join with us as you have done before, and as we are here presently, and as we look towards the future. Be with us as we continue this journey, of brotherhood and celebrating our achievements, 50 years of time, and hoping to look for another 50 years in the future. Because I look forward to digging up that capsule 50 years from now, honestly. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Brother Farzan. We are coming close to the end of this part of the program. We have another chapter downstairs that our members are eagerly waiting for you all, to come and have your sumptuous meal and so on. But this time, I'd like to ask our sister Nariman to come forward and give us a little vote of thanks.
Brothers and sisters, all assalamu alaikum. First of all, I want to thank Almighty Allah for affording us the opportunity for all of us to be here present. Secondly, I want to thank the Ahmadiyya and Isha'at Islam for allowing us to partner with them in this momentous celebration of 50 years. I also want to thank our guest speaker, who is not here right now in his absence, for taking the time to share his knowledge with us. I also want to thank the organizers of this function, all those who have spent sleepless nights putting this program together. Special thanks to Ms. Sherry, Ali, and Trevi for always who came last night and spent countless hours trying to put up the decoration. They look so lovely. Thank you, Amelia and team. Also want to thank Mr. Nazir Baksh, Mushin, duty to ensure that everything is all well. Last but not least, I want to thank you, the members of all the various body. We want to ask that the older people give them the opportunity to eat first, and the younger ones can hold on a little bit. There's food for everybody, so stay and enjoy the rest of the afternoon with us. Thank you, everybody.
Brothers and sisters, Nariman is thanking everybody, but I would like you to, all of us, to show our appreciation to her for the role that she has played in our Jamaat, always taking a leading role. We would like to say thank you, our sister Nariman. My dear brothers and sisters, as we have indicated, you will be directed as how to approach to get your meals and so on, and we would like you all to spend as much time as possible that you can with us. We have a meal and we have dessert, and then you'll meet your old friends and make new ones and spend the evening with us. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for supporting this venture today, and hope and pray, inshallah, we'll attend tomorrow's function in Gasparilla. At this time, we'll have a closing prayer, and I'd like to ask our sister Nisha to come forward. Okay. One little announcement is those who would like to read the Asr Namaz before you go down, just after the closing prayer, we'll have this area right here, will be used for the namaz.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A Muslim's prayer. Allah, our Lord, hidden and manifest, Creator supreme and fashioner superb. Thine is the world we know, and thine is the world we know not. Thy mercy envelopes creation, and thy light dispels gloom. Burden us not with what we cannot bear, and forgive us when we err. Let us not squander thy bounty and lose hope in thy loving beneficence. Unto thee we flee and cry in anguish. Hold us close when our feet fail, and lead us with the righteous to victory. Why should we grieve and fear when thou art near, and why should we complain against thy decrees when we know not what thou hast prepared for us? Ignorant as we are, we know not the joy that may lie hidden in sorrow, and the sorrow that may lurk in joy. We pray for those who have gone before us, and beseech thy forgiveness for our parents, in whose love and care we grew. Informed with wisdom, let us grow in knowledge that comes of thee. Suffer us not to envy the pleasures that others have, and to languish in grief at the loss of what we have. Guard us against pride and lust, and make us not vain and hypocritical. Let not passion make us wild, and let not power blind us to the transient state of all that life offers. Blessed is he who has surrendered his all unto thee, and who has won his peace in thy pleasure. May our tears in constant remembrance of thee sustain the heart and bring deliverance. Bless us with the fullness of life on earth, and when the time comes, make us return unto thee united in the fellowship of thy loving ones. Lord, grant us above all, we pray, the vision of thy countenance, and thou hast promised for those who are thine. Amen.